one of the things I realized is that before the routine, I wasn't successful because of who I was. Like, and a lot of y'all, for real, here's what you gotta stop doing. You hold people to the fire when they don't do what they're supposed to do, but you give yourself a pass. You gotta stop holding other people to the fire. You gotta hold yourself to the fire. And I realized that without a schedule, I was the one that was messing up my life. And I realized I needed a schedule because I wasn't the brand to get me where I wanted to go, if that makes sense. That version of Eric Thomas would never make me a 1%. I sat down with Warren Buffett, 3 things that blew my mind. I never really realized where his money came from. So the first thing I did was I was like, yo, his money comes from investments. Well, what happened was when he was 12 years old, his father gave him his first grand and let him make an investment. So I realized he's not getting up early in the morning just to get up in the morning. What he says he does is he reads. He doesn't just read books. That's not what he does. He reads financial reports. So this dude was telling me he read a financial report of General Motors in 1964. And I'm thinking, why would you be reading 14, 15, I don't remember what year it was. It wasn't the 60s. But to his point, he was reading the document, the financial, listen to me. He's a financial genius. What was he reading? Finances. For real, y'all be coming up to me like, yo, E, what you reading? Why? You trying to be a motivational speaker? You trying to be the next Martin Luther King? You trying to be the next Mother Teresa? Why are you trying to read what I'm reading? What are you trying, you trying to impress somebody? Why are you reading what I'm trying to read if you're not trying to be me? He was not reading Mother Teresa. He wasn't reading about leaders. He was reading a financial report from 1964 General Motors. Why? Because General Motors had one of their successful financial years in 1964. And so he was looking for the clues of what were they doing specifically in 1964 that can be duplicated in 2014. That's what he was looking for. So a lot of you getting up early because ET get up early, but you getting up early for no reason. You just up early. Right? When you get up that early, guess who else gets up that early? People who work out. So I'm with Rochelle, and I be going back and forth with Rochelle, and Rochelle be hitting me up like, E, what you doing? I just had to say to Rochelle, Rochelle, I ain't trying to be funny. I'm not on what you on. I'm working out to be healthy. You get paid. You're going to have a different intensity than I have. So I put a lot of emphasis in leadership. I'm a personality guy. I change people's professional and personal life. That's what I do. So be careful that your routine is pointing to where you're trying to get to and you're not wasting time. So I'm looking at Warren Buffett. He says he reads 6 hours a day. He reads financial documents 6 hours a day. That's the first thing he does, 7 days a week, 6 hours. But watch this. When you read something for 6 hours times 7, that's 42 hours, right? That's 42 hours a week, right? I don't know how many hours that is a year, but guess why he makes the best financial decisions? Because all he's doing is financial stuff. He putting in 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 50,000 hours. When he started hitting 40, 50, that's when he started blowing up as a 1%er. So what I'm trying to tell you is what happened. It took all those years of getting all that information, all those years of studying all that stuff, all those years of putting in that work. And then finally, all that stuff was that knowledge was compound interest. And then he started making certain decisions that people thought was rare. It wasn't rare. It was that all that time finally caught up to his decision making. He became finances. So every move he made was all these years of studying, and then boom, So what a lot of you doing wrong, to CJ's point, if you're gifted in 3 areas, then that means you're gonna have to get 30,000 hours just to be like basically a master. But what if you did one thing and got 30 hours of information in just that one area? You guys got 10,000 in 3 different areas. So while you got 10,000, I got 40, 50,000 in one area. What? Speaking. And guess what the disc is? The disc is still going further into personalities. So the routine is important because eventually it's going to make you a beast. That's why you need a routine, because you can't trust yourself not to get off track. That routine is going to keep you on track and make you a 1%er.
The most important thing is to be able to define which ones you can come to an intelligent decision on and which ones are beyond your capacity to evaluate. You don't have to be right about thousands and thousands and thousands of companies. You only have to be right about a couple. I met Bill Gates on July 5th, 1991. We were out in Seattle, and Bill said, "You've got to have a computer." And I said, "Why?" And he says, "It's going to change everything." And I said, "Well, will it change whether people chew gum?" And he said, "Well, probably not." And I said, "Well, will it change what kind of gum they chew?" And I said, "Well, then I'll stick to chewing gum and you stick to computers, you know." I don't have to understand all kinds of business. There's all kinds of business I don't understand. But there's thousands of opportunities there. I did understand the Bank of America, you know, and I'll be able, I'm able to do that. I'm able to understand some given percentage. But Ted Williams wrote a book called The Science of Hitting. And in The Science of Hitting, he's got a diagram, shows him at the plate, and he's got the strike zone divided into 77 squares, each the size of a baseball. And he says, if I only swing at pitches in my sweet zone, which he shows there, and he has what his batting average would be, which is 400. If he had to swing at low outside pitches, but still in the strike zone, his average would be 230. He said the most important thing in hitting is waiting for the right pitch. Now, he was at a disadvantage because if the count was 0-2 or 1-2 or so on, even if that ball was down where he was only going to bat 230, he had to swing at it. In investing, there's no called strikes. People can throw Microsoft at me and, you know, you name it, any stock, General Motors, and I don't have to swing. And nobody's going to call me out on called strikes. I only get a strike called if I swing at a pitch and miss. So I can wait there and look at thousands of companies day after day, and only when I see something I understand and when I like the price at which it's selling, then if I swing, if I hit it, fine. If I miss it, it's a strike. But it's an enormously advantageous game, and it's a terrible mistake to think you have to have an opinion on everything. You only have to have an opinion on a few things.